was a tragic day for many. The sheriff's office says the gunman opened fire with a handgun on a base where weapons aren't allowed. These officers are asking everybody to leave the area or you will be arrested. They're starting to fire pepper balls. You can see that the base of the Rachael Sims monument is still here, but the plaque is gone as well as the statue. I want you to walk with me inside this home. There's glass all over the ground. And if you look up, you can see the sky. The roof isn't there. The strong winds ripped it off. Mayor, did you slap a city employee in the face? Do you have anything you want to say to the city, sir?
The war on whites, how did you feel about it when you retweeted it?
Well, I didn't even notice that it said war on whites. I was watching the video and that's what I sent.
These conditions that the tenants are living in are unsafe. You know why we're here?
Yes, so that's why I used to leave, okay?
Okay, is there any comment that you can give us?
No, no ma'am.
Greg, the mayor's office says a poll worker was fired for allegedly tampering with a citizen's ballot. It happened earlier this morning.
Why is this so important to fight for this kid? For so long, so many people reached out for help and help never showed up.
You know, we're trying to make that help come now.
With some hospitals at or near capacity and the vaccine rollout moving slower than expected, frontline workers are concerned about what's ahead now that the holidays are over. Alan, the sky will be glowing whether it's lightning or fireworks. Greg, 14 people are allegedly buried in this cemetery. The district attorney's office says families were scammed during their time of bereavement. Protesters were out here for a couple of hours chanting, "No justice, no peace." This sign that was left behind says, "Please, I can't breathe." James Aberhart says he feels pretty confident right now. He said he's given this election his all, and it's up to the people to decide. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey has said she has no plans to implement another shutdown. Earlier this month, Governor Ivey lifted the occupancy rate limits for entertainment venues, fitness centers, and retailers in her amended Safer at Home order. Restaurants are not included. Alabama's new Safer at Home order, which includes the statewide mask mandate, runs through December 11th. And take a look at this. This is what free COVID testing lines were like at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles last night. Just look at the wave of cars, bumper to bumper. Los Angeles County saw nearly 4,300 new coronavirus cases on Friday. Well, lines didn't look much different here in Mobile this morning. Folks waited for hours to get tested. The Mobile County Health Department hosted free COVID testing at about 6 different locations across the county as part of its holiday Know Before You Go campaign. The governor is urging residents to make plans to evacuate if the situation calls for it. He says do not resort to shelters because of the pandemic. I'm excited about that great weather as well, Kelly. Well, that's all for NBC 15 News at 5. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tonight at 10. Now, Kim and Greg, I have documents right here showing DHR told staff members that it would take over control of the investigation. Instead, LeBron's former caretaker says the department dropped the ball.
People definitely felt like DHR failed him.
This former staff member at Augusta Evans Special Education School wants to remain anonymous because of this investigation. Our source was heavily involved with little 8-year-old LeBron Rankin and has a lot to say about him. What started out as this happy boy who was always laughing quickly faded, and LeBron, the former staffer says, was slipping away.
It just got worse. Each week he was lethargic, he was losing weight rapidly. He had visible signs of neglect. It just wasn't good.
Concerned staff members our contact says had reached out to LeBron's mother with concerns in the past.
And nothing was really resolved, so it was time to report it to DHR.
And that's what LeBron's caretakers did. Staff members filed these 2 complaints with the Alabama Department of Human Resources. The first, on February 5th, 2018, states LeBron appeared to be losing weight and had reoccurring ringworm. The next day, February 6th, DHR sent this letter back to the school, acknowledging it would begin an assessment of LeBron, including an interview with him at the school as part of its, quote, thorough investigation to protect him. It's in this same letter school officials are told not to contact the parents of LeBron Rankin or any other person regarding this information. This former staff member tells us DHR failed LeBron and believes DHR should be held accountable.
We weren't hearing back from DHR or being interviewed. It was passed on to them, so it was their responsibility.
3 weeks later, staff members filed a second complaint stating LeBron was thinner since the last DHR complaint and noted very poor hygiene.
He had small roaches on his wheelchair and also crawling out of his clothes.
On March 26, 2018, records show a DHR caseworker went to LeBron's house and found nothing indicating neglect. LeBron died April 6th, weighing 23 pounds. If there's a message you could send to DHR, what would that be?
Do the right thing. Whoever this person was that made that visit, you know as well as we did that this baby did not die from natural causes.
The medical examiner apparently is unsure too that LeBron died from natural causes. In the autopsy report, the examiner lists the manner of death as undetermined. The possibility of neglect is noted on the autopsy report. In August, we sat down with Mobile County District Attorney Ashley Rich. She told us Spring Hill Medical Center, after receiving LeBron's body, notified her office, shocked about LeBron's condition. She's fighting for LeBron in an active criminal investigation, but due to the coronavirus pandemic, she says the judicial system is significantly backlogged.
We are 6 months behind on presenting anything to grand jury just due to COVID, and then we were about 4 months behind just due to the backlog in the justice system. So now we're about 10 to 11 months behind.
2 years later, still no answers in LeBron Rankin's death.
A lawsuit has been filed against the directors of the Mobile County Department of Human Resources. The suit was filed by Birmingham attorney Tommy James. In a court filing today, Mobile County DHR's executive director denies allegations that LeBron died of negligence by the department.
And COVID-19 continues to hit long-term care facilities especially hard. A Mobile nursing home is now reporting that 115 cases of the virus have happened there, and according to Crown Healthcare in Mobile, 20 residents and 3 employees have died. NBC 15's Rachael Wilkerson joins us now with that story. Rachel?
Lance, nearly a quarter of Mobile County's COVID-19 deaths are from this facility. An insider says it's hard for many to come to work during this crisis.
I cried when I heard about a resident that passed. I cried.
With COVID-19 cases and the number of deaths rising at Crown Healthcare of Mobile, it's taking a toll on many. This insider, whose identity we are concealing, says fear among employees, residents, and families continues to grow.
They got everybody scared. Everybody's scared.
A spokesperson tells NBC 15 there are 97 patients within the facility and nearly half are infected with the virus. 11 residents are currently in the hospital and 33 are in a COVID isolation ward at the nursing home. On top of that, 52 employees have tested positive for COVID-19 according to the facility.
And we're still scared because we're risking our lives. And then the loved residents, they're losing their lives. It's like a win-lose situation. And nobody's winning. Everybody's losing, and it's sad.
The facility has been battling the outbreak since mid-March. The Alabama National Guard came to disinfect Crown Healthcare of Mobile more than 2 weeks ago. But this insider says more needs to be done.
I want them to get that facility in order because we're there to help the residents, but if we're too scared to do our jobs, then the job isn't going to get done. It'll get done, but it won't get done properly. And it just needs to get it a bit under control.
I reached out to the CEO for a comment. I have yet to hear back, but will continue to press for answers. Reporting live in Mobile, Rachael Wilkerson, NBC 15 News. Kim and Greg, we were brought here by several complaints from families that they can't find their loved ones' grave sites. When we started investigating, we discovered that many of these graves should not be here.
What you've got is 1 and 2. Nobody had ever come in to assess it as a cemetery.
NBC 15 dug through records and discovered that legally, Pritchett Memorial Cemetery is broken up into 3 pieces of property. Attorney Tyler Pritchett with the Mobile County Revenue Commission says his records show sections 1 and 2, the front of the property where you enter, were never deemed a cemetery.
So all of these years, 1 and 2 was never considered a cemetery.
Right. Those pieces have never been to our records owned by a cemetery or deemed to be used as a cemetery.
Another clue, these are not cemetery properties. These two pieces of property are taxed. Legal cemeteries are not required to pay property tax. The Revenue Commission says only Section 3 carries the cemetery designation.
The third piece of property that you've identified as 3 is a cemetery that we have associated as the owner as Pritchard Memorial Cemetery.
The Alabama Association of Cemeteries says to bury someone, you have to have approval from your governing entity. In this case, that is the Pritchard City Council. But Pritchard's Environmental Department says there are no records showing Sections 1 and 2 were ever zoned as a cemetery. Pritchard Environmental says that means dozens of loved ones buried in these 2 sections shouldn't be here. It's an upsetting situation for Jaquel Bridges. She's been searching for her father's grave for years.
It's sad that you have people that's your family that's buried over here, and it's not even part of a cemetery. And that's very sad. That's disrespectful.
NBC 15 made this discovery after Section 1 was purchased in a tax sale by New Birth Community Church a few months ago. The same church, along with its former pastor, Cedric McMillan, were convicted and fined last month for operating another cemetery without a license. That cemetery, Heritage Memorial Gardens, is just feet away from Pritchard Memorial Cemetery on the same block. This news of separate properties comes as a surprise for some who have loved ones here.
And that is really ridiculous.
While this decades-old web is untangled, Pritchard Environmental has ordered a temporary stop to all burials here at Pritchard Memorial Cemetery. We've uncovered more information about this property, including the arrest of the cemetery's founder. We'll bring you that at 5 o'clock tomorrow on the special reality check on the Forgotten Cemetery. Hey, Greg, I'm told the FBI was here investigating and that yesterday Kim Green called in sick, packed up her office, and left. Former Pritchard City Clerk Kim Green is accused of stealing more than $400,000 combined from the cities of Creola and Pritchard. She's accused of billing the city for hours she didn't work and creating duplicate paychecks for herself in Creola. Federal prosecutors say she took more than $50,000 that way, part of $250,000 she allegedly stole from Creola between 2013 and 2017. After she got the clerk's job in Pritchard, prosecutors say she took another $150,000 from taxpayers. Mayor Jimmy Gardner says City Hall was blindsided by her guilty plea this week.
It was more than just shocking for me.
Investigators say Green stole cash bonds and court fees paid to the city.
She is the heartbeat of the city, to be honest with you, particularly dealing with policies and procedures and those kind of things. The handling of certain funds coming in and out.
Mayor Gardner says he heard rumors of Green stealing taxpayer dollars years ago, but never found proof.
After doing the background checks and investigation, nothing was found even from the city of Creola, and certainly we had her.
The mayor says he never received any complaints about missing money, and he only found out about it when the feds showed up. Reporting live in Pritchard, Rachael Wilkerson, NBC 15 News.